Genesis 38 has presented a challenge to commentators over the years, because you have this story where one of the patriarchs of Israel acts terribly. And then you have this woman, Tamar, whose actions we wouldn't condone. And yet she is declared righteous. So what do we do with this story of a woman who is left childless when her husband dies, and then her husband's brother prevents her from having a child, and her father-in-law does nothing? Then, after waiting a long time, Tamar tricks her father-in-law to get pregnant, and she is successful. Tamar gets pregnant with twins, which is typically a sign of God's blessing in the Bible. So this story is one of betrayal and the pursuit of justice. If we look at Tamar's situation, I think we actually can relate to her. She has been betrayed bitterly by the men in her life, and surely Tamar feels abandoned. Her husband is dead, his brother is dead, and she realizes her father-in-law has no intent on fulfilling his duty to provide for her. It seems everything has gone wrong for Tamar. And I suspect that sense of loss and frustration and helplessness is one that a lot of us have experienced at one time or another. I would not say that I felt the depth of betrayal that Tamar goes through, but certainly I've had close friends, people in my life that I trusted, who said one thing and then went and did something completely different. And of course, that betrayal is hard to swallow. We all know the pain of betrayal and the challenge of knowing how to respond. But more than just betrayal, what do we do when there is injustice committed against us? In our story, we find righteousness and the pursuit of justice are connected. What does Tamar teach us? One way that Tamar's response is exemplary is that she acts in such a way that not only does she procure justice for herself, but also she saves the family line of her father-in-law. That is remarkable, because Tamar had every right to simply leave the family and marry someone else. She could have exposed the actions of Judah and his sons. Instead, she finds this genius way to make things right for everyone involved. I also find Tamar very impressive for the way she presses on despite the secrecy of the wrongs committed against her. Judah thinks Tamar is to blame for his two sons dying. And yet we know that the sons were evil and the Lord took action against them. But we have Tamar suffering in silence, and she doesn't even tell anyone that Judah is the father of her child until her pregnancy is brought to light by the townspeople. I think I find Tamar impressive because I can't imagine holding on to secrets of that nature for years, right? She is an amazing woman. She is also so patient. And maybe even her patience is part of the way she gets power for herself and is able to create a change in her circumstance. Okay, let me raise one more question. When I read this story, I also ask, where is God in this passage? It seems that God takes a back seat because the Lord is not referred to often. It prompts me to think deeply about God's role in creation. Does God stay away from intervening in the world? Is God aloof? Or is God somehow working things out for us? Perhaps the best way to say it is this. To what extent is God involved in world events, local events, and my personal life? God doesn't prevent Tamar's husband from being evil. God doesn't stop the brother-in-law from taking advantage of Tamar. God doesn't force Judah to provide a child for Tamar through his youngest son. But although these events happen, God seems to limit the actions of these characters. God literally kills Tamar's husband and the brother who rapes her, and then we see that eventually Judah too is brought to shame, and God provides a child, 2 children for Tamar. Does God inspire Tamar to wait patiently? Does God stir Tamar to come up with a creative scheme against Judah? Does God make Tamar's plan successful? Is her pregnancy a gift from God? The Bible doesn't directly answer these questions, but we do see a close connection between God and Tamar in that Jesus Christ comes from the lineage of Tamar. I can say in my life, I am sure God's hand has been guiding me and protecting me. I don't think God forces us to do something. God honors our free will. But I am sure that the things I've accomplished and the way things have worked out, many times it was clear God had a role in it. So the story of Tamar is encouraging to me. Even when things go wrong, when I'm frustrated with my circumstance and I can't see a way out, I know God is there. Can I be patient and wait like Tamar? Well, I try. I don't always succeed, but I know that God is part of my story. I don't know all the times God protects me or all the ways God provides for me and my family. I can't always tell you when I come up with an idea on my own or when it's God's prompting. But I know this. I strive to give God my faithful obedience day by day. And beyond this, I simply trust that God is walking with me every step of the way. No matter what happens, I go forward in God's strength. I go forward knowing that God will see me through everything that comes my way.